in the vast emptiness of space, far beyond the reaches of the known galaxy. Faint but urgent signal pulsed through the darkness. It was a call for help, a desperate plea that echoed across star systems, bouncing off empty planets and forgotten moons. This was no ordinary distress message. It carried the weight of fear and hope wrapped tightly together. On the bridge of the starship Aurora, Commander Alara watched the flickering screen with a mixture of concern and curiosity. The signals. Origin was a remote planet named Zilara, a world rumored to be peaceful but rarely visited. No one knew what dangers might lurk there. The SOS was clear. The inhabitants were under attack. Their time was running out. Alara turned to her crew, her voice steady but urgent. This is not just a routine rescue. We are the closest fleet capable of responding. We need to prepare for anything. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, a shadow stirred. The Deathworlder's warriors feared for their brutal skills and survival in the Deadliest. Environments intercepted the SOS. Their leader, Kale, was known for answering calls that others dared not touch. For him, this signal was more than a request for help. It was a summons to a battle unlike any before. Back on Zilara, the sky darkened with the approach of unknown ships. The aliens watched with a mixture of hope and dread as the Deathworlder fleet descended. They did not know if salvation or destruction was coming. Alara's crew worked feverishly, scanning for enemy ships and preparing weapons. The silence before the storm was deafening. The SOS had pulled the galaxy's deadliest warriors toward a war that would decide the fate of many. The signal echoed again, louder this time, as if calling out for those who could hear it to come. But no one knew what answers they would find, and so the stage was set. The desperate call had been sent. The Deadliest fleet was answering. The Aurora sliced through the blackness of space, its engines humming softly. Commander Alara stood at the observation window, watching the distant planet grow larger with every passing moment. Zilara's surface was marred by dark scars craters, broken cities, and forests reduced to ash. Something terrible had already taken place. Status report, Alara ordered. Her tactical officer, Joran, tapped rapidly on the console. Enemy ships detected in orbit, but they're unlike anything we've seen. Heavy armor, aggressive patterns. This isn't a simple raid. Alara's eyes narrowed. Could this be the force behind the SOS? Before Joran could answer the communications, console crackled to life. The SOS signal repeated, clearer and more urgent now. A distorted voice pleaded, "Help, ... We're losing everything. They come from the dead worlds. They bring death." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. The phrase "dead world" sent a chill through the room. Suddenly, sensors blared warnings. Massive ships pierced Zilara's atmosphere, casting long shadows over the broken landscape below. Their hulls were jagged and battle-scarred, designed for war and survival in the harshest environments. These were the Deathworlders. Kale stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Ravager, watching the planet with cold calculation. "They called for help," he said, voice low and harsh. "They do not know what answers have arrived." The Deathworlder fleet spread like a storm across the sky, a silent threat that made even the bravest tremble. Back on Zilara, alien survivors scrambled to prepare defenses, unsure whether these new arrivals were saviors or a greater danger. Among them was Lyra, a young leader with fire in her eyes. She watched the approaching fleet and whispered, "If these are the Deathbringers of legend, then we are doomed." But deep inside her, a flicker of hope remained. Maybe, just maybe, the Deathworlders could be their salvation. Alara gripped the railing tightly. "We don't know what we face," she murmured, "but we will find out, and we will fight." As the two forces drew closer, the space between them crackled with tension. The desperate call for help had summoned a power no one was ready for. The battle to come would test the limits of courage and survival. The stars shimmered coldly as the two fleets closed in. On the bridge of the Aurora, Commander Alara's crew worked quickly, coordinating their ships into a defensive formation. Every eye was fixed on the ominous shapes of the Deathworlder vessels. Massive, dark, and unforgiving. "We don't know their true intentions," Ilara warned. "They answered the SOS, but that doesn't mean they're here to help us." Joran nodded, fingers flying over the controls. "They fight like no other. Species, brutal, efficient. We've heard stories, but seeing them, it's another thing entirely." Meanwhile, aboard the Ravager, Kale's eyes burned with cold resolve. His voice was a low growl. "Prepare for battle. This SOS was a trap, but we will use it. See the price of calling the Deathworlders?" Suddenly, the void exploded into action. Energy beams cut through the darkness, illuminating the battlefield in deadly flashes. The first shots rang out, and the galaxy trembled. Ilara's heart pounded as her ship shook under enemy fire. "Shields at 60%. Returning fire." She shouted. The Deathworlders moved like shadows, fast, relentless, and terrifyingly skilled. Their ships tore through defenses with brutal precision. But the Aurora and its allies fought back, their courage fierce. Below, on the scarred surface of Zalara, Lyra watched the stars light up with destruction. "This battle will decide our fate," she murmured. "We are caught between fire and death." As the fight raged, strange transmissions began to come through, the noise-distorted voices warning of a greater threat lurking nearby. Neither fleet noticed that their war was about to awaken something far worse. Kale's voice broke through the chaos. "Finish this battle quickly. We cannot afford distractions." But as the last rays of distant suns faded, the true war was only beginning. The battle above Zalara raged on. Explosions painted the void, and fiery bursts and alarms blared across every ship. Commander Alara's Aurora shuddered from the enemy's relentless assault. Yet despite the chaos, a strange unease crept through the crew. Sensors picked up faint readings from beneath the planet's surface. Something moving. Something alive. Commander Joran called out, voice tense. "There's activity below. It's unidentified, but powerful." Ilara frowned, glancing down at the blue-green planet scarred by war. Could the SOS signal have triggered more than just us? What else lies hidden beneath? On the Deathworlder flagship, Kale's expression darkened. "They have secrets." He growled, "Secrets that could change everything." As the fleets battled in the skies deep underground, something ancient began to stir. Massive tunnels echoed with heavy footsteps. From the darkness, eyes glowed with deadly intent. Lyra, desperate and determined, led her people through ruined cities and dark caves, warning, "We are not just fighting the invaders above. There are darker forces waiting below. We must be ready." The SOS had sent a call for help, but no one expected the nightmare that lurked beneath. The Deathworlders may have answered, but the true danger was waking. Alara's voice cut through the tension. "We need to hold the line up here and prepare for whatever's coming next." In space and underground, two battles began to merge, one of ships and weapons, the other of ancient creatures and survival. The call for help was no longer just a signal. It was a beacon drawing death from all sides. The Aurora rocked violently as more Deathworlder ships pressed their attack. Explosions lit up space, and debris floated silently in the cold void. Commander Ilara gritted her teeth, steering her ship through the chaos. But her mind was splitter. Attention pulled between the battle above and the strange readings from below Zalara's surface. "Commander," Joran said urgently, "those underground signals are getting stronger." "Whatever it is, it's waking up." Lara frowned, tension tightening in her chest. "Prepare a small team. We're going down there." Meanwhile, in the dark tunnels beneath the planet, Lyra led a group of alien survivors through twisting caverns. Their footsteps echoed, mixing with faint growls and the sound of shifting rock. "Stay close," she whispered. "The Deathworlders may fight above, but below, the true terror waits." Suddenly, the ground trembled violently. Rocks cracked and fell, and a massive shape emerged from the shadows, a creature of scales, claws, and eyes that glowed like embers. It was a Deathworlder, predator, born in the harshest conditions, adapted to kill without mercy. Lyra barely held her breath. "We're not alone," she said, her voice shaking. We must fight or be eaten. Back in space, Kale's ship maneuvered. With deadly grace, this battle is mine, he said. No one steals the glory of the Deathworlders. Crush them all. But as the Ravager closed in on the Aurora, strange interference scrambled their weapon systems. A mysterious force was blocking their attacks. Leia seized the moment. All hands, fire everything. We must break through now. As beams clashed and shields faltered, a new horror rose from Zalara's core. The ancient underground beasts were moving toward the surface, drawn by the chaos. The desperate call for help had awakened more than just the Deathworlders. It had unleashed the planet's darkest secret. Ilara and Kale both faced an enemy neither had expected. Their fight for survival had only just begun. The battle in orbit raged like a storm. But deep below the planet's broken surface, a different kind of war was awakening. Commander Eloros's team suited up in armored exosuits, their faces grim with the weight of what lay ahead. The SOS had pulled them into something far darker than any starship battle. "Remember," Lara said, her voice steady, "our mission is to find the source of the underground signals and secure the planet. Stay alert. We don't know what we'll face." The squad boarded a small shuttle and plunged through the thick atmosphere, descending toward the jagged mountains that hid the entrance to the underground labyrinth. As they touched down near a cavern opening, a chill wind blew. Carrying whispers of something ancient and dangerous, Lyra's group moved silently, through tunnels lit only by flickering torches. Each step echoed like a warning. "We've lived here too long, hiding from what the Deathworlders bring," she whispered. "Now it's coming for us all." Suddenly, a deafening roar shook the cavern. From the shadows, massive creatures, twisted by the harsh environment, with razor teeth and armored hides charged. They were the planet's original inhabitants. Monsters born of fire and death. Alera's squad opened fire, energy blasts cutting through the darkness. But the beasts were fast and relentless. One crashed into a wall, sending debris flying. Another lunged at a squad member, claws grazing the armored suit. "Hold the line," Alara shouted. "We fight or we die." The underground battle was brutal, a raw fight for survival in tight, twisting tunnels. The team was forced to push deeper, driven by the signals that now pulsed stronger with each step. Above, the Deathworlder fleet began to sense something shifting. On the planet's surface, Kale's ship veered closer, weapons ready for any threat. "Whatever is down there," he muttered, "it could change everything."
Oh.
In the heart of the underground, Alara's team discovered a vast chamber filled with strange machines, glowing with alien energy. The signals originating here were part of an ancient system, designed to protect the planet from invaders. But now, the system was activating, and the monsters below were only the beginning. Ilara stared at the strange controls. "We have to shut this down, or nothing will survive." The desperate call for help had led them into a trap of cosmic scale. The real fight was just starting, and no one knew who would come out alive. Deep beneath the surface of Zalara, the ancient chamber pulsed with glowing energy. Commander Alara and her team worked quickly, trying to understand the alien machines that had sent the SOS signal. Time was running out. Every second, the monstrous creatures grew stronger, and the Deathworlder fleet waited above, ready for their next move. "Lyra, what do you know about these machines?" Ilara asked, her voice tense. Lyra studied the glowing symbols. They were built long ago to protect the planet. But now, they are waking the Guardians creatures made to kill anything that threatens Zalara. Suddenly, a rumble shook the chamber. Cracks appeared in the walls, and the floor trembled beneath their feet. "We don't have much time," Joran shouted from the control panel. "The system is activating a defense protocol. It's releasing a signal to the surface, to the Deathworlders." Outside, Kale's flagship received the signal. His eyes narrowed. "They want us to destroy everything. We can't let this planet survive." On the battlefield above, the warships of the Aurora and the Deathworlders were forced to pause as the planet itself seemed to fight back. Explosions erupted from beneath the surface, sending shockwaves into space. Ilara's team fought through the shaking tunnels, dodging falling rocks and monstrous guardians unleashed by the defense system. We have to shut it down now, Alara yelled at the control panel. Joran worked feverishly. If I can override the system, we might save the planet and stop the Deathworlders. Suddenly, a massive creature burst through the chamber wall. A towering beast with glowing eyes and claws sharp as blades. It roared, charging at the team. Alara drew her weapon. Stand your ground. Protect Joran. The fight was desperate and brutal. Every shot and strike counted as the fate of the planet, and the galaxy hung in the balance. Above them, Kale prepared to launch his final assault. But even he knew this battle was far from over. The chamber shook violently as the massive creature lunged forward, its claws slicing through the air. Commander Alara and her team fought with everything they had. Energy blasts lit the darkness, echoing off the walls as the battle for Zillara reached its peak. Joran's fingers flew over the control panel, sweat dripping from his brow. Almost there. Just a few more seconds. Outside, the planet itself trembled. The Deathworlder fleet, led by Kale, prepared their ultimate strike. The skies darkened with countless warships, ready to destroy all life on Zillara. Ilara shouted over the chaos, "We have to stop the signal. If it keeps going, the Deathworlders won't just conquer, they'll annihilate." Lyra, fighting side by side with Alara, took down the beast's legs, buying precious time. "Keep going, Joran." With a final key press, the system powered down. The glowing energy faded, and the monstrous creatures began to weaken, retreating. Back into the shadows, a heavy silence fell over the chamber. Above, Kale's fleet faltered. The signal was gone. Their orders were unclear. Slowly, the warships pulled back, leaving the planet's surface scarred but alive. Ilara and her team emerged from the depths, battered but victorious. The desperate SOS call had brought Deathworlders feared. Warriors of the galaxy, but it also summoned heroes willing to fight for survival against all odds. As dawn broke over Zillara, Lyra looked to the stars. "The fight isn't over," she said quietly. "But today, we showed the galaxy what it means to never give up." The echoes of the SOS would remain, warning others that when the deadliest warriors come, the universe itself must hold its breath.